Hello and welcome to the next episode of Hot as Hell with Chrissy. In this episode, you are just going to leave with so much energy. My next two guests are sisters. They are the founders of Level Up Ladies, which is a networking group that I attend. That's how I found them. They are balls of fizz and energy. They are hilarious. They cannot help but leave a room in a better condition than when they first found it. I'm speaking to Jess Levy and Sarah Spindle from Level Up Ladies, and we're talking about women's wealth and leveling up your life. I really hope you enjoy this episode. I had so much fun with them, and I just felt on a high. So I know you're going to feel the same. Hi, welcome to the Hot as Hell podcast with Chrissy. I've got two guests and I'm really excited about it. We just did a little wiggle on screen. Jess and Sarah, who I know as the Level Up Ladies. Thanks for coming on my new podcast.
Thanks for having us. We're so excited. Thanks for having us.
I'm excited too. Right, ladies, introduce yourselves. Tell us what you do, or who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And I'm so interested in how you determine who answers first.
It's going to be me. It's going to be me. I'm going straight in there.
I knew you were going to do this.
Right. I am Sarah Spindle, and this is my gorgeous sister.
Hello, I'm Jess Levy.
And we are known as the Level Up Ladies. So we started Level Up Ladies about literally 3 years ago next month, actually. And we've both worked for ourselves for 10 plus years. We absolutely love networking. We love bringing women together. We're all about like building women up, empowering them, celebrating them. And we were like, right, how can we actually do that as a package? And then Jess, I'll let her explain kind of the background of it, but we basically decided it was going to be a networking group for all women, business owners, self-employed, entrepreneurs, a safe space where they could just be exactly who they needed to be to level up in all areas of their lives. And whether that's business, mindset, wealth, health, all of those areas. And that is literally what we've attracted into this business, into this amazing community over the last 3 years. And we absolutely freaking love it.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
it's
love it.
amazing.
And it's really interesting because I feel like I think the main reason why we started is because we've worked together for 10 years. And obviously we know that we have each other and we bounce to each other. And literally my best friend's just left. And, you know, like we've always been sort of like a three, and we've always had someone to sort of bounce off. Or when you're in a dip, when you're an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I feel so shit today. And then someone's like, it's okay, babe, you've got this. Whereas,
Are we allowed to swear?
oh, sorry, I just did.
Yeah.
Okay, she loves to swear. And then I was like, you know, most people don't have that, but you think when you're in it, you just don't know that most people don't have it, if that makes sense. And then when I was on my honeymoon, literally like 3 years ago in February, I literally just woke up in the middle of the night. I was like, right, that's it. I was like, it's time. I was like, we need to do a networking group. And I literally woke up my husband and he was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, it's 4 a.m. We'll discuss tomorrow. And then literally I messaged her and I was like, we need to start a networking group. Let's go. I was like, I'm so sick of like going to networking groups and leaving not empowered or speaking to Bob from like building societies that I'm never going to communicate with again. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, it's annoying. So I basically literally messaged Sarah and I was like, we're starting a networking group. I'm actually going to find you the...
And I just replied saying, sure.
And she was like, yeah. She was like, sure. And that was it. So literally, 6 weeks later, we had a room of 20 women and we were off. And then literally that's it. And now we have 4 venues, 4 events a month. We have we sell out of our events every month. And
big, like full day events that we do every year, like hundreds and hundreds of women in our community now. And it is incredible. So
yeah. That's how
and it is incredible because I go and I'm part of that incredible group. And this is where we're going to go off on a tangent. Sorry, girls, I'm going there already. But
I love it. We love it.
we one of the things we were talking about, Jess, me and you across the table on Monday, was like how there are certain things about networking that felt really uncomfortable
Yeah.
for us in I came from a corporate background, and networking to me was in financial services, where you literally walked around and
Like,
had to give out your really stuffy
Big
and
bad.
pretty bad.
yeah,
Hey, ask
yeah,
Chrissy.
yeah. And so when I started doing it again, one of the first that I came to was yours. And I was really nervous when I went, because I didn't want it to be like that. Because in corporate, I always got treated like a member of the bar staff
Mm,
in a networking, because it was 95% men.
Yeah.
And so obviously you also work, and I'd love you to talk about this as well, in network marketing. And so like networking is something that is hugely in your blood anyway, from the success that you've made of those businesses. It Tell us a bit about network marketing and how that's kind of led you to, because I believe, and I don't know because I don't really know you on a network marketing
basis, yeah.
scale, but I believe that is like absolutely helped you to bring the ethos and the vibe that
Definitely.
you bring to Level Up Ladies.
I think it's made us who we are.
Yeah.
Like, as in, there's no way that we would have got to level up and the way the business runs and all of that if Arbonne hadn't have shaped us into who we are. So we've been running our network marketing businesses for like 12 years now. And
Mm,
I was 22 at the time when I started. I've never had a job. I literally started at university, built to the third and four levels in the company while I was studying, graduated, and then was like, oh, forget it, I'm not doing anything with this job. And then literally just for the like 5 years after that, Arbonne was my main source of income. I just traveled the world, worked from my phone, was like, a high flying like 25-year-old boss. And I was like, this is wild. And I think during that time I developed and transformed so much as a person. Like, I was really unconfident, low self-esteem, and there was a huge like cloud like always attached to me, which is so weird because you obviously just don't know that, because you're like, what, like you just see
no,
like happy,
that's yeah.
True.
like the happy Jess now. Don't get me wrong, I still have like dips of that and I really have to like push myself out of it. But I think because we've sort of been around community and bigging people up and like no sort of like competition in Arbonne, we were like, how can more people have that if they,
Mm.
without having to do network marketing? Because obviously not everyone wants to do it. So we were like, if we can bring all the elements that we know has helped us, because really it's not just network marketing, it's every entrepreneur. That's the difference. I think it just introduced you
Yeah,
to
we
like
realized that,
yeah,
didn't we? When
it's
we
not
went to Ideas. I mean, we've kind of realized it over the years anyway, but it was kind of really solidified when we went to Ideas Fest last year, and we were listening
Hmm.
to Daniel Priestley, and he was saying,
miracle
this is
pudding and
what people do that are successful. This is what I do as a successful entrepreneur. I get up early and I make sure I start my day with the following things, which is why we do the level up mornings.
Hmm.
He has time for himself. He has always in gratitude. He's all about supporting others. He's
being around
all about
people who
celebrating and
are
being around other people who are in that success mind. And we were like,
oh, right.
that's literally everything that we've learned in Arbonne and as in that community. It's all about celebrating each other's wins. It's all about hugging people in. It's about celebrating people's differences. It's not a
Everyone's on their
one
own path and
exactly. Everybody
journey.
can go at their own pace, but it's all and success is different things to everybody as well. And I think when
Mm.
you're in the corporate world, it's very like regimented, and you're in this box and it's this and this is how it works and this is everything, whereas the entrepreneurial world is so vastly different to that. And I think that's what we wanted to make sure we brought into Level Up. We wanted to hug everybody in. We wanted to make everybody feel like they were part of something straight away. They didn't have to like earn their place to be a part of this community. If you're a female who runs a business, you're in. Like, we don't have this like
Policy of just
yeah.
and also I think it's one of the reasons why we didn't introduce membership until this year,
Yes.
Yeah.
because again, like, so many people come to us and their first question is like, do I have to be a member to come in? And I feel like that's a barrier to entry for people, and I'm like,
Yes,
not at
very
all. Like,
much so.
pop on in, pop on down, see the vibe. If you like it, great.
Mm.
And I think
And it's why we
it's why we
had
have such good retention.
wow on the membership as well when we did do it, because everyone was like, I want it to even more. I want to be a part of this even more than I already am. And you know, and we love that we've got that extra elevated space for people, for membership as well, but it doesn't make anybody else feel unwelcome. And that was something we were really like really clear on from the very beginning. So
yeah, I love it. I love it. Okay, one of the topics that I'm really keen to talk about in all of its guises and from all different angles is money, wealth, finances, creating your rich life, like having independence. And it's something that I know you're both passionate about and that we talk about a lot in Level Up. And one of the things that you always encourage us to celebrate as well, where every meeting we have to celebrate something, and no one should ever be afraid if that celebration is a financial celebration. But why do you think that women are so afraid of talking about finances and money?
So I think it's definitely a generational thing. Like it's always been like, you know, over the like our parents' generation and the parents and parents' generation has always been like, you know, the mum has kids and doesn't do anything, and then like dad looks after them. You know, like it's such a silly concept, but I think that's been like definitely passed down by like generations. And then I also think because it's definitely worth like a massive area of worth. And I also think people have just been so like conditioned to be like you're boasting or you're, you know, you that's just really inappropriate to like share stuff like that. Because it almost feels like, well, I don't have that, so why should I celebrate you, sort of thing. And I think it's just a massive culture thing. But I think within the last few years it's massively shifted, because I think what we're noticing more and more with Level Up is every meeting we're getting like 8 to 10 new women. They're like, I've worked for 20 years in corporate, I'm done. And I'm like, oh, so it's just a massive shift now that women are becoming entrepreneurs and are like stepping into that power, and just basically being like changing the narrative that you can talk about money and you can be the wealthy wife and, you know, partner or whatever it is, and that's okay. Or you can both be earning amazing money and thrive, and that's fine. And it's not intimidating or an ego thing. It's just that's fine. Like women are powerful. I think it's
and I think it's also that it's always been, again, it's such an age-old thing, but like, you know, if a man shares how much he earns, like he's the boss. And if a woman shares, then it's crass. And it's like such a stupid,
it's like the slag point.
Exactly. Totally.
I literally listened to it yesterday. It's such a good song. Do you remember when she's like, you know, if a guy tells you how many people he slept with, whatever, and then it's like, but the girl doesn't say but she is a whore. And I was like, yeah, it's so true.
Right.
It's the same with money.
There's always been this like, you know, difference between if a man does it to when a woman does it. And we're just trying to show that actually it's not different. And it's totally acceptable. And in fact, should be celebrated when you earn amazing money, and you should be able to talk about it, and you shouldn't feel bad about it, and you should never apologize. And the more we all like that becomes the norm, the more it becomes the norm. That's literally all it is. It's just this shift of mindset. And actually I'm reading for about the 100th time, You Are a Badass at Making Money. And she actually says at the beginning of the book, and I was thinking about this morning as I was reading it, she's like, you know, would you read this in public? And it's like a big green book that says like, you are a badass at making money. And I remember the first time I read that book, I was like, hell no, I'm not reading this in public. This is like, I'm not even reading it in front of my husband. And now, like, it came on holiday with me. I was sitting by the pool with it. It was on the aeroplane. It was in the airport. I was like, here's the book I'm reading.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And it's that, again, it's my own shift. And I think if everybody's really conscious of making their own shifts in how they view wealth and how they view themselves as a wealthy woman, then it will, you know, it will spiral into the next generation. And like one of the things I talk to my daughter all the time, she's 10, about money and about how we were listening, it might have even been the same song, we were listening to something, it said something about wealth and money and taboo, and she was like, what's taboo? And I explained it to her, and I explained what it meant and why it's linked to money, and how that's such an age-old
Yeah,
thought process. And we should talk about money, and it's you want to be a wealthy woman and you want to earn your own money and stand on your own feet and everything. And she was like, great, like, okay. And I feel like if we can do that for the next generation, then they won't have the crap that we had.
Yeah. Off topic, what is wealth to you? Like, what is living a wealthy life? In like some of my kind of peer group, we call it rich life. What's your rich
Oh,
life?
so that's how weird that you were about to say that.
Rich life,
Because I no, but I literally was about to say to you, I love that you call it wealth, because obviously one of the big things that there's like this whole concept with money is like being rich doesn't mean that you're wealthy. So again, like having like it's really been a shift again over the years, and like I've got a lot of friends who are like, oh, I can't wait to be rich. I'm like, no, babe, you can't wait to be wealthy, because it's very different.
Yes, it's all
I was like, wealthy is like wealthy, you thriving in your health, you're thriving in time, you're thriving in your relationships. Like that's
you're
what
thriving in love and happiness. It's
and
everything. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that money brings that, but it's an absolute integral part of it. So never kid yourself into thinking that money's not important and money's not something that you need, because it absolutely is.
But
You
I think
literally can't do anything without it.
But I think when people say that, like that, I'm like, that's a you issue, and clearly
Yes.
you've got an issue with money, because it's just like I remember that quote. What is it like? Money is just as important as oxygen. Like every single day, you make a transaction, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
Whether that's for even just like
Your food,
laptop,
your petrol,
like,
your
what I mean?
laptop, your electricity,
Like
it's
everything.
needed.
So I think when people say that, I think again, I'm like, no, but it is. And I remember like the first time me and my husband got together, like we had a huge, probably like for like a year, like an argument, like ongoing discussion about money. And he was like, oh, babe, that's not the most important thing. I was like, no, it is. And I was like, and when you say it is, what I mean is if you're happy in yourself and your self-worth is high and all your other areas are thriving, the money just absolutely enhances the shit out of your life. So don't come at me and say that. Anyway, after a year, he was like, babe, think money is like really important. I was like, I know, like I told you this. Like, why didn't you believe me? But he was like, yeah, I just didn't really like think about it that way. But it is like when you are like where we're at now, like us three, like we're businesses, we've got all these things. I'm like, yeah, like 20 grand a month would be delightful and will be delightful when it happens. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely celebrate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I think is sort of wealthy. It's like thriving in
all areas. We were literally discussing, I was like, my affirmation, like my constant affirmation at the moment is I'm a happy, healthy, wealthy woman. And when I said that, we were with her friend, Georgia, who was literally sat there, and she was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. That's what Georgia's is as well. And I was like, really? But it just encompasses all the things. Like, and I think my like own personal brand is it's a lifestyle. And because I believe that there's not one thing ever that's going to change everything for you. It's a whole lifestyle. It's a whole encompassing thing. It's the exercise. It's the food. It's the people you surround yourself with. It's the books you read. It's the things that you listen to. It's a whole thing. The skincare that you use, whatever it is, it's all the different things that encompass this full, wealthy life. And that is why my brand is it's a lifestyle. And I think that's the same when it comes to having a wealthy lifestyle. It's a whole host of all these things together working synergistically. That's when you've kind of cracked it.
Yeah. And that's, for me, that's what how living a hot life means. Living a hot life means that I have women like you, that I am literally, it is my job to sit here and talk to you and spend Monday across lunchtime with you and the other ladies, and then Tuesday morning, and then yesterday I went and had a long lunch. I used to make fun out of my husband for having long business lunches, and yesterday I had one of my own, sat in the garden of a pub.
That for you. I was in the spa yesterday on a Wednesday. I mean, what lovely. Like,
what is life?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a wealthy life to me. I want to spend Wednesday morning in the spa, and I loved it.
Good.
So it's doing things for you, and that's the whole, if you've got the money, you will also have the time to then do the things that you want to do. If you've got all the money, but you've not got the time to do the nice things, the long lunch, the seeing a friend when you want to, the hopping on a train or a plane to wherever you want to go to, it isn't a full life. It's not a wealthy life. It's just you've got lots of money. And so you want to have both. And that's, I think,
the goal.
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Have you always been open about money?
No. So I also think on the non-open part, which is interesting, is I think it's like, obviously we've discussed this, but like, your whole money, your beliefs around money all comes from like your childhood and everything like that. And I think again, like when we started our bond, it opened us up to like a whole new world of money and wealth and women and all of that, and like championing women to like be absolute badasses. But I think one of the biggest things for us is like we've done so much work on money, like it's insane. Like we've probably read 50 books on money.
We've been on courses,
bloody podcasts,
meditations, hypnosis, like
Reiki, like everything. And I think so many people don't do that stuff, but then kind of not expect, but then are like, oh, I'm so annoyed I'm not earning 10 grand a month or whatever it is. And I'm like, because it takes so many things to
un-F you.
Un-F you basically, which I don't want to say on the podcast out loud, but yeah, that's what I call it, like unfuck yourself. Then basically get to that place.
Yes.
But I think a big thing now, which I am like so passionate about, is like just how many people we've watched in our life with our parents' friends that have just relied on their husband for money, and now they're really in a bad situation. Because they're either stuck in a marriage they don't like, or they basically have no money to leave.
They left their husband to deal with it all,
and they don't understand finances. They don't understand finances, and like we've got a friend in business now, and she's like, oh, my husband deals with that, and I'm like, babe, like no, like that's not acceptable. Like you need to be fully in control, know exactly where your money is, what's coming in. You need to know what to invest in, how much to invest. Like everything is like fully educational. I mean, they should really teach it in the school system, but that's a whole separate story. But yes, we have not been always open, but neither have our parents, and now we've taught them.
But they are now
to be open. And
I love that.
Yeah,
that was going to be my next question. What about your parents?
So we came like we kind of had like a bit of an interesting kind of situation with money when we were younger. So like we grew up in a very affluent area in South Manchester. And we were very, very fortunate. We had a very nice life.
All our friends
we went to private school
and lived with gates.
But like our friends and the people that we surrounded ourselves with were like here in terms of their wealth, right? Or their parents' wealth. And so for us, we didn't feel
uncomfortable
to use better I'm going with the word rich rather than wealthy, because that's how we would have seen it at the time. We didn't feel like we were rich because our house wasn't as big, or our car wasn't as nice, or whatever it was. And so we grew up feeling quite uncomfortable around money because our parents weren't open about what they were doing with their money.
No, so I don't agree. I think we're comfortable around being around wealthy people.
Yes, but we didn't feel like we were there. If that makes sense.
So it's like we've never been uncomfortable being around money because all our friends.
Yes.
What I was trying to say is like the best definition is like all our friends lived in gated houses with like Range Rovers and Porsches, and then we lived in like a nice house. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't like as if it was a gorgeous house, but like when all your friends have gated houses and like driveways
fit in their driveway, you're like, oh.
So the money, we were always around wealth, but then we didn't have or feel like we didn't feel like we had wealth.
Yes.
And then when we started Starbond, we got educated on money and everything like that, and our mum builds Arbonne with us, so she went through that journey of mindset and money and stuff, and then really became aware and educated. And then obviously they started telling us about all the properties they invested in, and
all the things that they had to build their wealth as they were growing and as they were getting older. And now they're semi-retired, and my dad's pretty much retired, and they have an insane life. And it's because they lived sensibly and not lavishly and splashing, whereas unfortunately some of their friends did that, and now they've got nothing. And so what we've seen is like, well done you, like that's freaking awesome, what a great thing to do, but we wish you told us what you were doing.
We should talk
so that we would understand what was going on. And so we're therefore, it's something we've really learned. And I'm really open with our kids on, what we're investing in and where our money's going and why, you don't need that right now because it will benefit you so much more to put your money here when you're older.
Yeah.
And so we're just kind of teaching them a whole new way of it. It's a whole new education for them that we kind of wish we'd understood earlier. That makes sense.
I love that. And I think this is something, and we will be careful not to go off on too much of a tangent here, but I think this is something that is really underrated about network marketing, is that it shows and teaches and celebrates success and wealth and entrepreneur. I can't say it. You say it. Thanks, babes. And listen, there's bad network marketers out there. There's bad network marketing companies out there. But this is something that I think a lot of people who look down their nose at network marketing don't understand. In the good organizations, there is a huge focus on self-development. There is a huge focus on ethical businesses. There is a huge focus on celebrating your success and rewarding your success.
100%.
So much.
And I think also, like, I will just sort of come in on that because I think I love like what you said there, because I do think that it has such a bad rep, but actually like that's why I love us, because we have always been integral with our business and how we operate, and I'm just really honest and open with what it takes to do the work, and but I also am aware that it's not for everyone, and that's okay. But I think that it's kind of like, when you go into like a Mac counter and you have a really bad sales pitch and you're like, God, you've literally put me off now, like, I'm not coming back. I think because there's so many people in the industry, like there is going to be idiots who,
and there's no barriers to entry. You're going to get complete
and just
idiots ruining it.
But then it's like it's finding the right person to work with and the right company, like you said. But yes, there is the most enormous amount, like the amount of celebration that we've had and recognition and awards. I've got an entire cabinet of awards that we've won. Just
the
jewelry, like just so much gorgeous stuff.
So like, it's
nice if people just got. And I reckon if that was more in the corporate world, people would be thriving because they're actually appreciated. That's what it is. It's appreciation.
Yes.
You're so appreciated when.
And that focus on personal growth and development is everything. It's why we have such a big focus on it in Level Up, because, I worked for 10 years as a teacher, and like there was no focus on, mindset and how to believe more in yourself. If I'd have known all of that as a teacher, I'd have taught all the kids that I taught all of that. I would have probably been an even better teacher, and I definitely would have stayed longer because I wouldn't have burnt out and stressed myself out if I'd have been taught how to manage my nervous system, and I'd have been taught about just growing as a person and how to manage my mindset better. I think I would have been it would have worked better, and the teaching profession would be better. And that's what we've learned in Arbonne, and it's honestly, it changes everything for the better. And
the reality is corporate organizations are just MLMs.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if anyone listening, I'm doing like
not everyone will be the CEO, whereas the beauty is
right, exactly.
Marketing is everyone, it's a level playing field.
And it totally is.
I've got friends who started like 10 years after me and they're more successful than me because it's fair play. Work harder, get rewarded.
And I think just to touch on that, the leadership side of it is huge. Like again, like there's so many jobs and so many businesses would benefit so much more if they developed leadership skills within each person, no matter where they are in the business. It doesn't matter if they're a manager or, they've got the title of a leader. If everybody understood the foundational principles of leadership, it would make every organization flourish so much better. And that is a huge focus of network marketing, particularly Arbonne. I don't know about other companies, but that leadership focus is such a big thing. And if you lead yourself well, then you can then lead others, and it makes you a better wife, partner, friend, mum, sister, everything. And again, that has such a knock-on effect.
It really does. How much has making money, being successful in business, affected your self-worth and vice versa?
Well, it's an interesting one
It
because
is
it's
an interesting
basically,
one.
I'm not sure how to
We've got
answer
very
this one.
different answers here.
So,
Ooh.
yeah, very different answers. So, this is something I'm still working on because basically, for me, my apparently definition of self-worth is success. So, if I'm earning a shitload of money, I'm like, my self-worth is through the roof. And when I dip, my self-worth is not there. So that's not good. So
Mhm.
basically, and I don't know where that's come from. I think potentially it's come from like trying to prove myself to people, potentially from like my bullying days. I don't know, but it's a
As in,
really,
she was bullied, not she
yeah.
was the
Not
bully.
she was the bully, yeah.
I'm a cute
Bullying
bear.
days.
Yes, sorry. So yes, when I was bullied, so it may potentially from there, but I've definitely had like periods where I just like I'm on top of the world and I think I'm fantastic, and then so I was like, it's linked to your paycheck, and then when you aren't at your in definition highest peak, it's like your self-worth dip. So I'd like to shift that to obviously not being related to
Mm.
money and success, because actually like it doesn't matter like what title I am, it doesn't matter, what level up earning, what I'm doing, it's not relevant, is it? It's like
No.
the success comes from within and you, and whereas Sarah has nailed it, so she can answer.
Go on,
It's a
Sarah.
breaking program. It's not like it happened like that. But again, I think I'm a very kind of university, like feminine energy in the flow and all about the alignment and that kind of thing. So therefore, for me, yes, I love money. It's one of my mantras. I love it. I think it's awesome. And I'm developing a really great relationship with it, but it is not attached to my self-worth. So if
Mhm.
I earned no money this month, I would still be a very happy, healthy, wealthy woman. I would still love what I am. I still would exercise as much. I would still eat what I want to eat and all of those things. And I would be just as happy as if I earned 50 grand. And I
Mm.
think so I have figured out that in between like situation, and it's done through a lot of different ways though. It's done through, I think, being very in tune with the universe. It's done by having Gabby Bernstein in my ear constantly. It's done through a lot of meditation, through a crap load of exercise, through all of those things that have made myself a happy version of myself. Therefore it isn't
Mm.
attached to money. And yes, when I have great paychecks, I definitely have an elevated like energy towards me, but it doesn't
Define you.
define me and it doesn't dip.
Yeah.
And I think that's quite an important thing, because if when you're listening to this and you're going, oh yeah, I'm Jess, like I definitely attach my self-worth to money, it's something I really do urge you to work on, to separate the two out, because that is not, personally, I don't think that's a healthy place to be in for your mindset.
Yeah.
So it's something that you need to work on and get help in that area, I think.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. Um, how can women let go of the shame around success and wealth?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Fuck it.
I think there's lots of ways. I think,
Yeah,
firstly, I think surrounding yourself with people who
who have that.
who have that already, who know that it's awesome to earn loads of money. It's great to, celebrate yourself and be a badass and be an awesome, loud, proud woman. Be around that energy more, because it is catching.
And also, I don't think you can. It's like the crabs in the bucket, which you'll have heard of this before. But if you're employed right now, if five people are employed and one of the women starts a business, all the other women who are employed, who are maybe scared to go self-employed, are bringing the self-employed woman down. So eventually she's then going to lock her self-worth and be like, oh, I don't think I can do this, which is why we're so passionate about who you spend time with, because they influence everything. Like they just do. And even if you can't be with them every day, it's as often as possible. It's the podcast in your ear. It's, the TV that you're watching. It's everything you're doing. It's how you speak to yourself. Hilarious conversation that we had before this.
Very important.
Yeah, it's how you speak to yourself. It's all those things. And I think the more it's basically when you are becoming an entrepreneur or when you're in that phase, you kind of have to be in a bubble until your armor is like strong enough. And I think that's why I'm so grateful, because we created such an armor for like 10 years. We basically were just in a bubble, didn't realize that the rest of the world isn't like this, and then came
It's
out
so
the bubble.
true.
And it's so mad. Like, and then you come out the bubble, and now we've just recreated another bubble. So now we have two bubbles to be in. We just don't really get affected by like when people, well, we don't really have many friends who aren't in this entrepreneurial world, but if they are employed, they've sort of come our way with like the meditation, the
Brought them in the
Reiki,
bubble.
we've brought them into the like self-growth bubble. So they've sort of leveled up in their own way, even if they're still employed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. And
Yeah.
it's a journey. I think also it's being willing to go on the journey. If you are like, I'm fine and I'm not willing to change, nothing is going to change. You're always going to be in that self-loathing state. You're always going to be in that push-pull relationship with money. You're never going to have everything you want, and it's always going to be an annoying struggle. You'll get a little bit and you'll be like, yes, and then you'll sabotage yourself and you'll come back. So you have to be willing to do the work, and the work is uncomfortable and it's messy and it's ugly and it's sometimes really boring and tedious, but it absolutely works. It's so worth it. And so you've got to carve out that time to do the reading, to do the listening, to go on the courses, and to spend the time with the people that you know are going to influence you in a positive way. And if you're not willing to do that, then stop whinging about it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Some quick fire questions that I didn't prep you for.
Oh,
Lovely.
lovely. Hit us.
Okay. What is the best money book you've read?
I mean, it will say Get Rich Lucky Bitch.
Get Rich Lucky Bitch. Denise DT.
I've probably watched it, read, listened 20 times. Like, genuinely,
Yeah.
I know it off by heart. I just think it hits all corners.
It's true.
I think it's really perfectly said. The exercises are really simple to do. And I think she's such a gorgeous, relatable, and lovely woman.
Yeah. I concur. I've got like a couple of others that I absolutely love as well, and I think that they're almost on par, but that is the one. Like, you've got to, and don't just read it once.
20 times.
Read it like over and over and over, and commit to it, and listen to it as well, because some people take in stuff more when they listen, and it's just one of those things that each time you listen to it, you'll be like, oh my God, that is the exact thing I needed to hear, but you didn't hear it the other 3 times that you listened.
Yeah, I have both. I like to listen, but I like to have the book, so I don't write in the book.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so that was the first question. Second question, what is the hardest thing about being a woman in business?
Oh, but for me, just like comparison and sort of like self, like deprecation, I guess, like just thinking, can you do it, and negative self-talk. Yeah, just kind of, that's definitely for me. You don't really have that now. She's
Yeah, I don't have an answer to that one.
I'll tell you what yours is.
Go on.
I feel SARS is basically,
you know what it is? It's procrastination.
It's basically not
sometimes
having a structure. She's like, I just can't be bothered. I'm not doing it, which is why
the gym,
which is why we work so well together, because I'm like, get on it. We're doing this.
She's scary and controlling, and I am like,
yes, but on.
That's why we work so well together. Yeah, I'd say that's what it is. It's the procrastination, because it's like
easy not to do it.
Exactly, being your own boss is amazing, but you've got no one to tell you that things need doing. So if you aren't setting that's the reason why most people fail. I think it's because they don't put in the structure, the scheduling, the time blocking, and the goal setting. But all of those things we learn in Arbonne. Those were like, I'd never set a single goal in my entire life before I started Arbonne. I was like, what do you mean? How do you set a goal? Like, it's not taught. And so if you're starting a journey on your own, I know this is meant to be quick fire and this is a way longer answer, but I actually think this is very important. If you're starting out as an entrepreneur, or you're starting out on that journey, you've got to learn those basic fundamental principles of how to actually plan and structure your business and your day to day. Because if you don't know how to do that, you will fail because you haven't got the fundamentals in place. So get someone to teach you those things, or come to Level Up and we'll teach you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, last one. What is the best piece of advice you can give a woman who is listening to this, whether she is in business, whether she is a mom, whether she is perimenopausal, whether she's just struggling with her money mindset, like piece of advice, I don't mind which one of those it addresses, but like what's going to light a fire up her ass after she's listened to this?
Oh my God.
Ooh,
That
right.
is
Well,
a
number one,
question.
go and buy Denise Duffield
Yeah.
Thomas, Get Rich Lucky
Okay,
Bitch.
yes,
We are
yes.
not her promoters. We just love the book. And it will change the entire way that you view everything in terms of money and your own self-worth, because it's got both in it. The second for me is affirmations. Affirmations are absolutely everything. It's the way that you talk to yourself. And I think a lot of people think affirmations are like wooey crap. They're not. They're scientifically proven to change the pathways in your brain to change your story, basically. So if your story has always been, I'm bad with money, I don't understand numbers, it's not my area, all that nonsense, change it. It's up to you to change that story, and the only way you're going to do that is by rewriting those pathways, and that is all down to affirmation. So just something as simple as, I love money, I'm working with money every day and it works really well with me. Like Denise will teach you some good affirmations, but
Denise,
yeah,
my best friend.
those I think are the two starting points for me.
I think mine is just like get so bloody good at being self-aware
Yes.
and what your blocks are, your sabotages are, get someone to call you out on your shit. And like genuinely do the things that are a blind spot that you might not be seeing. Because I am eternally grateful for my people who pull me out on stuff that I don't see is happening or being. And I think if you can get more self-aware, you'll be more successful, because then you can change those things, adapt accordingly, move forward, and also just know that everything is just a phase as well. I think is a really big thing. Like I've been like really channeling that recently as a mum. So for any mums out there, I am a mum to a 2-year-old and he is not sleeping, and I've been up since 4:30 this morning. And like when I woke up, I was like, everything's just a phase. Like this is just a phase. Like, everything in life is just a phase. There's going to be phases of thriving in business. There's going to be phases of dips in business. There's going to be phases where you feel on top of the world. There's going to be phases where you feel like you want to cry in a hole. Like everything's a phase. So just take a day at a time and get more self-aware.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Someone once said to me, tough times don't last, tough people do.
Yes, we are tough people, Chrissy. We are tough people.
We can do hard things.
We can do
We
hard things.
can. Girls, this has been the most amazing chat. Thank you so much. I will make sure that all of the links to how people can find you together and individually are in the show notes. Have a glorious day. Thank you for being on my new podcast.
We lots of love. Happy Thursday. Bye.
Bye.